We live in a world obsessed with form. Look around. Everything we define as real is something we can touch, see, or quantify. We've been trained, almost hypnotically, to believe that what's outside of us holds more power than what's inside. Jobs, relationships, bank accounts, titles, these are the trophies we're told to chase. But what if we've misunderstood the rules of the game from the very beginning? What if the outer world isn't the cause of our inner state, but the result of it? The illusion of separation between mind and matter, self and environment, spirit and science has kept us asleep. It's the silent script running underneath every anxious decision, every failed attempt, every dream we quietly gave up on. But here's the awakening moment. What if everything you see, everything you experience, is not happening to you, but through you? In the quantum world, particles do not exist in fixed places. They shimmer with potential, existing in multiple states at once until something, an observation, an intention, calls them into a specific form. Your life is no different. You are not separate from the energy of the universe. You are woven into it. You are, quite literally, shaping reality by how you perceive it. This isn't philosophy for the sake of comfort. It's physics turned inward. Quantum energy is not some abstract field out there. It is you. It's your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, vibrating into a field of possibility and collapsing into outcomes based on your most consistent inner frequency. You are not just a passive observer walking through life. You are an artist painting with energy, and your mind is the brush. If we accept that, then the question becomes, what am I vibrating? What beliefs am I unconsciously radiating into the quantum field every single day? When I wake up feeling dread, when I rehearse old failures, when I doubt my worth, what am I instructing reality to deliver? There's a moment, one that everyone who begins this journey will recognize, when the desire for change collides with the realization that change will not come from the outside. It will not come with a new job or a different partner or more money. It begins when you stop asking life to fix itself and start asking, who am I being right now? Let that question linger for a moment. Let it challenge the narrative you've been living, because to shift your vibration is to shift your identity, not your circumstances. Success is not a destination, it is a frequency. You don't get there, you tune into it. This truth often arrives like a whisper, so soft it's almost easy to dismiss. But once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. You begin to notice how much of your life has been driven by reaction, by survival, by proving and striving. And then, something deeper stirs. A remembering. You remember that you felt connected before, in nature, in stillness, in love. You remember fleeting moments when time stood still, when inspiration struck like lightning, when you just knew something without logic. These weren't accidents. They were glimpses of the quantum reality always available to you. In those moments, you weren't separate. You were in harmony. And harmony is the birthplace of power. So let's begin here, with the undoing of false identities and the unraveling of inherited beliefs. Let's start by shedding the illusion that success is something you chase, rather than something you attract by becoming. Because the field of infinite possibility is not waiting for you to arrive. It's waiting for you to wake up. Where in your life are you still chasing something you don't believe you deserve? Pause with that. Breathe into it. The shift begins not by changing the world, but by remembering who you are within it. Your mind is not just a vessel for thoughts. It's a tuning fork vibrating with the rhythm of your most dominant beliefs. Every emotion you feel, every thought you entertain sends out a signal, and that signal is not neutral. It resonates with energy, rippling through the unseen quantum field like sound through air, seeking matching frequencies to join and amplify it. This is not imagination. This is resonance. This is coherence. This is how reality takes shape. If your thoughts are chaotic, rushed, or soaked in fear, they emit a discordant frequency. If your emotions are laced with scarcity or shame, that energy bleeds into the signal, And the quantum field, being infinitely intelligent and utterly impersonal, responds accordingly, not with judgment, but with precision. It mirrors back what you send out. Think of yourself like a radio tower, constantly broadcasting. Most people don't realize this. They think they're stuck in their lives because of circumstance, or bad luck, or other people's actions. But what if the real prison is invisible? What if you're tuned to a station of limitation while longing for a frequency of abundance? This is why affirmations often fall flat. You can say, "I am successful" all day long, but if the signal beneath, the core emotional and energetic tone, is still fear, doubt, or resentment, the field hears that, not your words. Because the universe responds to vibration, not vocabulary. This is not meant to discourage you. In fact, it should empower you. Because the shift is not in the struggle. It's in the signal. And the signal changes when the energy behind the thought changes. So what is the energy behind your thoughts? Let's go deeper. When you remember a painful event and feel it all over again, you're not just thinking, you're vibrating the past. You're tuning into a frequency of what was, and if done repeatedly, you begin to attract more of the same. Not because life is punishing you, but because life is obeying you. This is the subconscious at work. It's the storage house of repeated vibrational patterns, many of which were installed before you could even understand them. Maybe you grew up hearing, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "You have to work twice as hard to be worthy," or "People like us don't live that kind of life." These aren't just phrases, they're energetic programs. And unless you become aware of them, they remain the default frequency you operate from. But here's the miracle. Awareness changes everything. The moment you see the program, you are no longer fully inside it. You've stepped into the observer role. And the observer, the conscious awareness behind the thought, is the most powerful vibrational state there is. Because awareness is what tunes the signal. It is the hand on the dial. This is why some people can shift their lives so dramatically after one deep realization. They don't add anything. They remember something truer. They remember that they are not their pain, their past, or even their personality. They are the observer of all of it. And the observer chooses what to focus on. Where you place your focus is where your energy flows. And where your energy flows is where your reality grows. Let's get practical. If you wake up and immediately focus on what's wrong, what you lack, what you fear, you start the day tuned to the frequency of resistance. Your nervous system tightens, your thoughts become protective, your energy contracts, you're vibrating scarcity before you've even brushed your teeth. Now imagine waking up with intention. You sit in stillness, even for 5 minutes, and feel into gratitude. Not as a mental exercise, but as a full-bodied emotional state. You tune your thoughts toward possibility. You visualize the version of you who has already succeeded and breathe like they breathe. You move your body like they move. You smile like they smile. What signal do you think you're broadcasting now? You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be consistent with your vibration, because the quantum field is always listening, always reflecting, always delivering a match. So pause, feel into it. What are you tuned to today? And more importantly, are you willing to change the station? Because your mind isn't broken. It's just playing the last frequency you forgot to turn off. All it needs is your conscious decision to retune, to harmonize with the version of you who already exists in potential. And the moment you do, you begin to collapse possibilities into realities that reflect the vibration you've chosen. This is not magic, this is alignment. And it is available right now. There's a moment in every seeker's life when they come face to face with an uncomfortable truth. They've been living as a bystander in their own story, reacting instead of creating, hoping instead of knowing. And yet, the turning point is not in the regret. It's in the realization that you are the observer, and the observer has power. In the quantum world, This is not a metaphor, it's a law. Experiments have shown that particles behave differently when they are being observed. They collapse from a field of infinite possibilities into a single, definite outcome. But what causes that collapse isn't physical, it's attention, intention, consciousness. And that's where the mystery becomes personal. You are not separate from the field of possibility. You are the field folded into form. Every thought you focus on, every emotion you dwell in, is an act of observation, and every act of observation collapses potential into form. In simple terms, you don't just live in a universe, you shape it with your focus. So the question becomes, what are you observing into reality? Are you staring at your limitations until they harden into facts? Are you watching your fears until they start acting like fate? Are you measuring your past so often that your future becomes a repeat? You see, energy flows where attention goes, and attention is the currency of creation. Most people spend that currency recklessly, on worry, comparison, old wounds, and things they cannot control. They pour their life force into versions of reality they don't even want, and then wonder why they feel stuck. But what if you started spending your attention differently? What if you became intentional, like an artist, choosing with care what you focus on, what you observe? This is the secret behind all great transformation. Not forcing life to change, but changing the lens through which you look at life. Because the lens, the perspective, is what shapes the outcome. Imagine two people facing the same setback. One sees failure, the other sees a setup for growth. One collapses into despair, the other collapses into destiny. The event didn't make the difference. The observer did. You are that observer. You've always been, you just forgot. But here's the beauty. You can remember, right now. You can take your power back, not with control, but with clarity. Clarity that says, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to see next. This is why visualizing your future is not just daydreaming. It's quantum rehearsal. When you imagine a new outcome with feeling and repetition, you are observing that possibility into the field. You are signaling, this is the version I'm tuning to. And with enough consistency, the field responds, not because it's granting a wish, but because it's following your command. You may not see the shift immediately. That's okay. In the quantum realm, time is not linear. Outcomes bend to coherence, not calendars. Your job is not to rush the result, it's to stabilize the signal. So take a breath, close your eyes. Who are you observing yourself to be? Right now in this moment, are you the version that doubts, hesitates, apologizes for wanting more? Or are you the version that knows, deep in your bones, that your desires were never random, that they were placed in you like seeds, waiting for your conscious attention to bloom? When you choose to believe in that version, when you begin to see life through that lens, you collapse potential into presence. You become the creator, not by controlling outcomes, but by commanding energy with your focus, your feeling, and your faith. This is your power. It always was. But don't just understand it. Live it. Practice it. Because every moment is a chance to observe something new into form. And if you're going to collapse one of infinite realities into your path, why not choose the one that reflects your deepest truth? What would happen if you stopped observing your past into your present and started observing your potential into reality? Pause there. Let the question echo, because the field is listening, and so is your soul. Some people spend their whole lives chasing new results while living in the same identity. They want change, but they're still being the version of themselves that doesn't believe they can have it. That's not laziness. It's programming. And that programming lives deep inside, hidden in the quiet corridors of the subconscious, where old stories repeat themselves like sacred truths. But here's the secret. Your subconscious mind isn't fixed. It's fluid. It's energy. And like energy, it can be moved, rewired, reprogrammed, if you're willing to meet it where it lives, not in logic, but in feeling. Every belief you hold about money, love, worthiness, success was formed in response to emotion. Maybe someone said something when you were young. Maybe you failed and it stung. Maybe you were told not to ask for more. These moments leave impressions, not just mental ones, but energetic ones. And over time, they become internal blueprints, vibrational patterns that say, this is who I am, this is what I can have. And most of them are invisible, until life shows them to you. Repeated patterns, emotional triggers, self-sabotage. These aren't flaws. They're feedback. They're invitations to look deeper and ask, what energy am I still carrying? What story am I still agreeing to? Because if you want to manifest something new, you can't keep thinking and feeling like the old you. You have to shift from memory to imagination, from history to possibility, from wounded identity to aligned energy. This is not pretending. This is embodying, and it begins within. Close your eyes. Picture the version of you who already has what you're asking for, not in the distant future, but here. Now, how do they breathe? How do they speak? How do they carry themselves? What do they know about themselves that you've been afraid to claim? That knowing, that embodied energy, is not something you earn. It's something you remember. It already lives inside you, but it gets buried beneath fear, beneath doubt, beneath the need to prove your worth instead of accept it. And so the work is not becoming someone else. It's letting go of who you are not, letting go of identities that were never yours, roles you were handed but never chose, shame that wasn't born in you but was passed down by people who didn't know any better. This is not self-help. This is energetic liberation. And it requires courage, because the mind will cling to the familiar even when it hurts. It will replay old stories because repetition feels like safety. But vibrationally, it's just a signal loop, and loops don't change until you stop feeding them your energy. So what does that look like? It looks like sitting with your fear instead of running from it, holding space for your wounds instead of avoiding them, breathing through the discomfort instead of numbing it. Because when you feel it fully, without judgment, something shifts. The energy moves, the charge dissolves, and in its place, space is created for something new to be planted. That space is where alignment begins. Alignment doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means everything is coherent. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions are vibrating in the same direction. You're not thinking abundance while feeling unworthy. You're not asking for love while believing you're too much. You're not visualizing success while acting from fear. You are one signal, clear, undivided, aligned. And in that coherence, the field responds, not because you forced it to, but because you matched it. Because the version of you who already lives the life you desire doesn't operate from the past. They live from the frequency of what's possible. They know that energy precedes matter, and that inner state creates outer form. So take a breath. Where in your life are you still operating from an outdated identity? What belief, emotion, or behavior are you ready to release? Not because it's wrong, but because it's no longer a match for who you're becoming. This is not about fixing yourself. You were never broken. This is about remembering your power and choosing to use it with intention, because your vibration doesn't lie, and the universe doesn't ignore it. There's a moment when everything clicks, not because something outside finally changes, but because something inside finally aligns. You're no longer chasing your desires like they're somewhere far away. You're no longer begging the universe for permission. You've stopped acting like the guest, and you've become the host. This is the vibration of embodiment. When you embody success, you're no longer trying to manifest it. You are it. You move, speak, and live from the frequency of someone who already knows they are enough, already knows they are supported, already knows the field is conspiring in their favor. That knowing becomes a magnetic force, not one that begs, but one that attracts. Let's be clear. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are in frequency. This is where most people get stuck. They set intentions, say affirmations, make vision boards, and yet nothing moves. Why? Because their identity hasn't caught up with their desires. They're trying to create a future with the energy of the past, and energetically, it doesn't add up. The field doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to resonance. To shift into a life of success, you must begin living in that vibration before the evidence arrives. That's the leap. That's the faith. And that's where most people give up, because they've been taught to wait until they see before they believe. But in quantum reality, it's the other way around. You must believe before you see, feel before it appears, embody before it's confirmed. Because when your vibration says, "This is who I am," the field says, "So be it." It's like tuning your body, your emotions, your very breath into a frequency that says, "I am no longer trying to get there, I am there." And from that place, you don't hustle, you attract. You don't force, you allow. You don't chase, you invite. Think of a magnet. It doesn't run around collecting metal. It simply holds its field. And everything that matches comes to it. You are the same. When you align your vibration, the universe organizes around you. You become the central signal. You become the tuning fork that shifts the atmosphere. So how do you do this practically? You start small. You notice your energy when you walk into a room. Do you shrink or do you expand? You pay attention to your self-talk. Is it laced with fear or trust? You stop waiting for proof and you start becoming it. Every time you say thank you before the gift arrives, every time you walk with confidence before the outcome is guaranteed, every time you breathe as if peace is already yours, you collapse a new reality into being. This isn't pretending, this is practicing. Practicing the frequency of your future self until it becomes your present. And it will feel strange at first. Your mind will resist, your old patterns will rise. That's okay. That's just the old signal losing strength. Stay the course. Return to the energy over and over again. Not because you're trying to be perfect, but because you're becoming congruent. Congruence is when your heart, mind, body, and soul say the same thing. It's when your inner world becomes such a powerful broadcast that the outer world has no choice but to adjust. And here's the miracle. Once you truly embody the frequency, the need to force outcomes dissolves. You're not trying to bend reality anymore. You're dancing with it. You begin to realize the version of you who has the life you want is not waiting at the end of some long road. They are right here in the energy you choose in this moment. So ask yourself, if I already had the success I'm seeking, how would I wake up tomorrow? What would I no longer tolerate? What would I finally give myself permission to feel? How would I walk, speak, breathe, be? Step into that now, not someday. Because the quantum field is not bound by time, it listens to energy, and energy doesn't lie. So be the vibration, be the abundance, be the love, be the peace, be the power. Not later, now. Because your life is not waiting for you to get better, it's waiting for you to remember who you already are. And the moment you do, the field rearranges in your favor, not because you tricked it, but because you matched it. You've always been the signal. Now, will you choose to hold it? You are not here to struggle for scraps in a universe of infinite potential. You are not meant to shrink to fit someone else's version of what's possible. You are a living extension of the quantum field. Energy in motion, consciousness in form, the very spark of creation choosing to wake up. Every thought you shift, every limiting belief you shed, every emotion you elevate is not just personal, it's powerful. You are not changing your life by accident. You're remembering your role in designing it. And when you begin to vibrate from that place of clarity, congruence, and courage, the world cannot help but meet you there. This is your invitation. Go beyond the surface, tune inward, trust the signal. Embody the vibration of the version of you who no longer waits but becomes. Because the shift you're seeking isn't out there. It's in you. It's you. So take one quiet breath and ask yourself, what am I now ready to vibrate into reality? If this message stirred something in you, share your thoughts below. Let's build this energy together. Comment, reflect, and subscribe for more wisdom on becoming who you were always meant to be.